Black Clover is a fantasy battle manga. There are loads of amazing fights, and chock full of these bouts are filled with incredibly powerful characters, and humans love to rank things. There is essentially a ranking system in every form of popular sport, and people will rank the best movies or TV shows, and thus people also take the important aspects of these fights in manga, these fights in Black Clover, and try to rank the most powerful characters. A comic book website called CBR tried to make this list, and it was incredibly poor. Filled with blatant misinformation as well as numerous spelling errors, the article was lacking any form of cohesion. There was even a massive debate on if number 15 was the beginning or the end of the list.
Was I reading this shit backwards? They're up to date, so having Asta number 1, and then in the paragraph where they're describing Asta, they even say, yet even without magic, he is, I repeat, he is the most powerful character in the series. And then you scroll down to number fucking 1, and apparently no, this guy, Zagreed, is the most powerful in the fucking series. So who the fuck is it? Which way are we going? Are we starting from 15 to 1, or are we starting from 1 to 15?
If only half of the population of the fandom that you are writing the article for could understand the article, then that is proof that it isn't a good article. So, after making a video about the article last week, I decided to make my own list. The 15 strongest Black Clover characters ranked. This video took a long time to script. The top 10 was fairly easy to make, and nearly 90% of the research was done in the next 10 characters and trying to cut them down to 15 and trying to find that number 15, which was really hard. Now, I do want to keep you guys in mind that I'm only using characters that have actually done anything in the manga, though Lucifero is the highest ranking and strongest devil. I am not including him in here because he has not done anything. The sea god from the underwater temple is probably very strong, but he hasn't done anything, so I won't be including him on the list. So before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to my light novel series called 9 Fates at 9fates.com. If you want to read a fantasy manga style light novel, please go check that out. Also, if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. You can also follow me on Twitter, linked down below. That being said, let's get into it. Now, the term strongest is pretty vague and can mean multiple things. Strongest as in lifting strength, strongest as in strongest punches or kicks, etc. But I'm using strongest in the sense in terms of overall combat prowess and power. Lifting strength, attack potency, speed, durability, technique, and hacks all determine one's overall combat power. I do think it is important to note that this entire video was scripted on August 4th, 2021. At the time, there are only 301 chapters of Black Clover. If you have any disagreements with this list based on chapters after 301, don't even comment. I still get comments on old ranking videos where people will say they are wrong because they're using context from 100 plus chapters that I didn't even have at the time. So I decided to actually write down about 22 of the strongest characters that I could think of and rank that before doing my 15. So I put Gaja at rank 15, and this might not sound so crazy, but it gets crazy for some people when they realize that Zagreed, Lumiere, Licht, Mereoleona, Fugolion, Luck, Nozel, Dorothy, and Julius are all below Gaja on this list. Now let me explain. I genuinely believe that Gaja scales above all of these characters. In this list, I put Julius pretty low because he struggled against a human Patri, which is crazy because not even elf Patri is that strong in the series. I get it, people get mad at this one, but Julius has no quality, feats, or scaling. If you want to go just off of reputation and not feats or anything else, then fine, put Julius on your list. I am keeping him off of mine. I also didn't include Asier Silva on this list because she barely defeated a rookie devil host, Vonica, who was using less than 50% of her devil power. I say less than 50% because even less devil presence was shown against Asier than when she used 50% in the Hard Kingdom. As for Nozel and Dorothy, they just don't have any feats that put them in the top 15. I'm sure that when they get actual feats in the manga in this arc, they will be higher on the list, but they just aren't at the time for me. Dorothy is strong, but if you are faster or smarter than her, you will either avoid Glamour World or escape it completely. Neither Mereoleona or Fugolion get on the list because as of right now, I'm scaling them below Lumiere. This is because Fugolion has no feats this arc besides killing low-ranked devils and dark disciples. People love to equate the power to Mereoleona and Fugolion, which has happened once narratively, but even Mereoleona has no crazy feats this arc. Yeah, she could defeat an ancient demon, but that was a wingless demon, and when they have wings, they are stronger. Remember, Mariana even had to use full release against this wingless demon and couldn't kill it despite, pretty much winning. So if she'd use all of her mana to defeat a wingless demon, I don't really think she can defeat a demon with wings. Whereas Lumiere fought a full power ancient demon and held his own, and at his prime was actually stronger than it, as he absorbed its mana with the Swallowtail and killed it, and also it made him arcane. And then he kept the mana. I actually have Prime Lumiere above Licht because Lumiere stole the mana from the Ancient Demon, like I just said. Lumiere even says that he's not fully awakened in the stone body, yet he's the same level of power as Licht, even though Licht was fully released because of the seal from Sekre. So if Lumiere is nerfed, that means that truly Lumiere is above Licht. Now Zegred obviously scales above Licht and Lumiere. He wasn't even at full power and was fighting the both of them at once. Sure, it was not Prime Lumiere, he was weakened, but he was fighting Prime Licht, and it was a 2v1, and he wasn't even using his full power. As it was stated that Zegred did not use his full power until after Yuno and Asta got Zephyr and Black Divider. Now this comes to the huge debate. Why is Gaja ranked above Zegred? I put Gaja at 15, and Zegred at 16. Well, it's actually quite supported in the manga, and actually everything else when you add in the scaling from the manga and the anime canon filler together. Let's go over Gaja's feats and scaling. So he is stage 0, and he can easily defeat 50% Dark Disciples who scale above Spirit Dive Zephyr Yuno, who fought Zegred quite well. Pre-time skip in the anime filler, he is fighting a mid-time skip Black Divider Asta, who would be way stronger than the one Zegred fought, as he is training with the Black Divider. It's a bigger Black Divider, and he's been training physically and with his anti-magic control. And Gaja was clobbering him over and over again over the course of the time skip training. Gaja would then train with the Elves and the Dryad and learn Ultimate Magic after failing when Lolopechka would be kidnapped by Vanica in the post-time skip arc. Now, post-Dryad training Gaja can fight off curse-controlled Lolopechka. This may not seem so impressive because Lolo has never shown to be that strong, but Real stated that curse-controlled Lolo was the strongest he had ever seen her, so even though she lost the water spirit, the curse has made her even stronger from Vanica. This curse-controlled Lolopechka was able to fight side by side with 100% Vanica, which means she had to be relative in power to that full power Vanica, or at least she scales to Briar Queen Charlotte, who scales above the 80% Triad. Gaja would then even face off against Devil Lolopechka, who was a double amp, much higher mana as a devil and devil water magic. Gaja, though obviously outmatched from Devil Lolo, was still able to get some moves in. He used his arrays to clash against Lolo's Devil Water Hydras, and he was able to stall her with Pulsaranta, and then with Ultimate Magic, he paired with his Life Energy, was able to actually obliterate Megicula. Now Megicula scales drastically above Zegred, even though she isn't fully manifested. I'll go in depth on that later on, because she's higher on this list, but this is because she scales above Saint Valkyrie Noel, who easily defeated 100% Vanica, who is Supreme Devil level. Supreme level being way stronger than a high-ranking devil, which is what Zegred is. So if Ultimate Magic would nearly kill Megicula, it would easily kill Zegred, and this means that Gaja could still survive by just not using all of his life energy. Zegred will not regenerate. His heart will be destroyed if Gaja was able to do this much damage against Megicula. So again, Gaja would have killed Megicula, a supreme devil, if not for her high-level regeneration. Zegred wouldn't even get the chance to regenerate. He would just die. His heart would be destroyed by Gaja's ultimate magic. Now remember, Gaja scales way above Zephyr Yuno, who was fighting competently against Zegred, and he was easily besting Black Divider Asta in the mid-time skip, who fought well against Zegred, and he only got way stronger with training with a god after all of that. He also fought Devil Lolopechka, who scales above 80% Triad members, who scale way above Zegred. Now the reason why I do put the 80% Triad above Zegred is because you have just a base Dante being faster than a 2-horn Black Divider Asta, and he is toying with that Black Divider Asta. In fact, it took 13 Black Divider Astas in order for him to even use 50% Devil Mana, and this is a much stronger Black Divider Asta than the one from the Elf arc, and that Zegred had troubles with that version of Asta. Now clearly, Zegred was, more powerful than this Asta, but it wasn't a huge difference, so that is why the 80% Triad scale way above Zegred. Well, that was a really long explanation for 15, but now we can move on to number 14 and the rest, which will be a lot less heavy in explanation. Number 14 is Briar Queen Charlotte. Now this might be somewhat of an unfair inclusion on the list, because technically Charlotte is borrowing power from Vanica's curses to get to this level, but still, she's incredibly powerful in the post-time skip, pairing the remnants of her elven mana with Mana Method, Mana Zone, and using the power of her own curse. She was able to easily body a 70% Vanica, and I put her slightly above Gaja because she actually seemingly lasted a while, facing off against a 100% Monica and curse-controlled Olapechka alongside Rill. At number 13 is Devil Olapechka. She bodied Gaja, and even in her curse-controlled form was fighting well alongside 100% Vonica, which would imply she is at least somewhat relative to her. Then she gets a double amp when she becomes a devil, getting more mana and access to devil water magic. There is a misnomer in the community that Devil Olapechka is not very strong because she lost the water spirit, but it was actually confirmed that curse-controlled Ola was stronger than when she had the water spirit, and then Devil Olapechka would be well above that. Number 12. Yami Tsukihiro. Whoa guys, I'm a huge fan of Yami too. Do not get mad. It's just that since his capture, power progression has been nutty in Black Clover. The Triad are at 100% now. And remember, a 1% amp and devil power is a massive amp, meaning that Dante got over 20 massive amps after fighting Yami, as well as a buff from Morris. Yami just might not be ready for this power scale yet, though I know that he will be when he returns, if he does at least. I wouldn't be surprised if Yami comes from this event stronger. He's probably siphoning energy from the entire ritual as we speak, and Yami is going to come out an even bigger Chad than he actually is currently. I actually even had a hard time putting him above Devil Olapechka, but we do have to remember that Yami does actually scale a bit above 80% Dante. He just couldn't kill him easily because of the body magic regeneration. Despite a lack of feats and his combat speed likely lacking from the power progression, his reactions from Mana Zone and Ki, as well as Dimension Slash, Black Hole, Black Moon, and Death Thrust keeps him still in the top 15 at number 12. At number 11, Yuno Granberry-all. I already know a lot of people are going to be mad that I put Yuno above Yami, but the manga actually supports this. Of course, I'm referring to Spirit Dive Boreas Yuno. Why I put him above Yami? Well, Yami actually struggles with 80% Dante before getting the Death Thrust, and again, after he struggles more, but that's to the regeneration. Whereas Boreas Yuno was no riffing in 80% Zenon. Zenon has regeneration too. Not only do we know that his bone regenerates, but the hole in his chest is just completely gone once a 100% devil mana is given. His regeneration is likely not on the level of Dante, but he still has it. And also, Yami never fought against 100% Dante. Yuno has fought against 100% Zenon, and while he is not winning, he has been fighting long enough to hold his own and survive. He can react to and parry an attack from full power Zenon, so for the fact that Yuno easily bodied an 80% Zenon, and Yami struggled against 80% Dante, and Yuno has actually fought a far stronger character and is holding his own, then I have to put Yuno above Yami just barely. And for those who are going to say that Zenon only used 70% against Yuno, that is actually an error, as the physical release of the Japanese volume changed it to 80%, and we already know that Zenon can use 80% based on the statements from his Dark Disciples like 70 chapters ago. So the 70% Zenon is an error. Number 10, I know a lot of his fans are going to be very happy with this one, and that is Jack the Ripper. I know he's a small but strong fandom, but he really backed up his title of captain in the manga this arc. Jack faced off against a stronger Dante than what Yami fought, thanks to the sorcery science amplifications from Morris, and was straight bodying him once he developed his transformation of having blades all around his body, slashing him quite easily. Now, Jack then gets downplayed after this because he gets bodied by a 100% Dante. This actually is not fair to Jack. Jack was taken off guard by a Supreme Devil whose power dwarfs 80% Dante, and her Devil Ice magic not only knocked him back in the wall and damaged him, but also caused some of his blades to be destroyed or recede. Then a now refreshed 100% Dante fights him. Not only does Jack take many attacks right off the bat and survive, but he fights a whole-on battle against 100% Dante. He's fast enough to hit him, and while his blades can damage Dante, his regeneration at that point is so strong that it heals immediately. This was also both the best and worst matchup for Jack. At first, it was manageable because of his Slash Magic's adaptability, but against Dante using 100% Devil Mana, he had the least chance to hold out. As remember, Jack has the lowest amount of mana among the captains, so the least amount of fuel. He's the only captain in the guidebook that got a 4 out of 5 in magic amount, which is mana amount, whereas every other captain got a 5 out of 5. Now I genuinely believe that Jack would have fared better against either of the other 100% powered Triad. Again, Yami fans, remember, he is my second favorite character. Yami is my second favorite character, so there's no bias here. I would love to see him high on the list, and I'm sure that 1 to 2 years from now, when this list is remade, he'll be a lot higher. But as for Jack, I put him at 10 because he held his own against a 100% Dante, went against a much more powerful Dante than the one that Yami fought against, and he's done quite well, and he had to fight 100% Dante after being taken off guard by a Supreme Devil and taking damage from it. And now we get to the Dark Triad. They were all stated to be equal in power to each other. So they really should be pretty interchangeable on this list, and I am going to say that that's really how it's going to be. But I'm going to order them anyways and kind of speedrun it, because they are stated to be equal, but I don't really think it is that important to rank them in such a big list. I would need an entire video dedicated to them to go into such nuance as to explain which is stronger than the other. So I'm just going to give a brief little ranking for them, but again, like I said, it's kind of interchangeable. But at number 9, I'm going to put 100% Vannaka. She's incredibly powerful, but her blood magic doesn't really seem to be that great, and curse warding magic, under her use, not Megicula's, seems to be weakest of the hacks so far. Don't get me wrong, we will get to Megicula later, but it just seems that Vannaka's power is lackluster compared to her siblings. Though it can be kind of unfair, because both fight we have seen, she has been half nerfed. Her blood being nerfed by Lola's Array, and her curse being nerfed by Charlotte's Roses. At number 8, I got Zenon. Now his bones seem pretty potent, and Absolute Space is just absolutely broken in the series, but we do need to see more Absolute Space to gauge its true power. A lot of people love to issue a no limits fallacy on it, but we're gonna have to wait and see. I really hope Zenon shows me up with more feats eventually, and then he cracks the top 5. Number 7, it has to be Dante. His regeneration is just nuts, and his hacks is something else as well. Presence of the Demon King is nutso strong, and that was just an 80%. Also, he has Singularity, which sadly we did not get to see at 100%. But still, I believe Dante is the strongest of the Dark Triad. Despite the massive L's he has taken, I think he's just gone against much more potent people than the other Dark Triad. Number 6, that is the Black Bull's Vice Captain, Noct Faust. I already know that people are going to call me dumb for putting Noct in front of Yami, putting the Vice Captain in front of the Captain, but there really isn't anything wrong with that, just like there is nothing wrong with Asta being above Yami in power, despite not even being a Vice Captain at all. But let's just get into it. Noct, in just his base form, can easily body Dark Disciples, and then in Devil Union he can body a Devil Arm Asta. Remember that a stamina depraved Devil Arm Asta was able to fight relatively comparable to an 80% Dante and Yami. Noct is just absolutely destroying this level of Asta, who is now at full strength. It's not even close. And it is backed up that Noct is stronger than Yami. And just his slow toast Devil Union, he easily stands in Dante's gravity and trades blows with him. Dante is actually happy with just a regular Devil Union Noct, and thinks he's a capable fighter like Yami. It is important to remember that Noct never used Mana Zone against Dante, nor did he use Devil Union, and nor did he combine the two. Remember that Mana Zone is a many times multiplier. It is likely that Double Devil Union is a many times multiplier as well. And Noct, while using the agility characteristic, dodged attacks from the Supreme Devils who were above the Dark Triad. Imagine how easily he dodges this if he uses Mana Zone, or is in a Double Devil Union, or both. A new data page actually put Noct at Double Devil Union as a Supreme level Devil. The Dark Triad are stated to be near Supreme level Devil. This means he already should be slightly above them, and then with Mana Zone amplifying him many times on top of that, yeah, I'm gonna have to put Noct above the Dark Triad. I think it would be good fights if you fought any of them, but yeah, I would have to put Noct above it just because of his versatility with his shadow magic, and then the characteristics of the 4 devils, and then a Double Devil Union, and then Mana Zone as well. At number 5 is Nama. Honestly, Nama is not that impressive, though his fire magic is pure hack since it is devil fire magic and can actually burn concepts, but he's also a bona fide Supreme Devil. That's actually the only reason why I'm putting him above Noct and the Triad, is because he's a Supreme level Devil, but he really didn't do much because he just kind of got bodied by Devil Union Asta, because Devil Union Asta is just a pure Chad. Number 4 is Saint Valkyrie Noelle. And so Saint Valkyrie Noelle is an absolute goddess right now. In her Saint stage Valkyrie form, she absolutely no-diffed a 100% Vannaka. Remember, Vannaka at 100% is near a Supreme Devil, and Noelle defeated her easily. This is why I put Noelle above Nama, actually, because the wording would imply that Nama would have a tough fight with the 100% Triad, whereas Noelle, as we read, easily defeated a 100% Vannaka. Given the fact that she can kill devils because of Saint Stage, I do not see Nama hanging with her. At number 3 is Megicula. Now keep in mind that I'm only scaling this currently partially manifested Megicula. I would likely scale a full manifested Megicula as the highest on the list, but we can't just determine that level of power as of yet. She's incredibly powerful, currently scaling far above Saint Stage Noelle, who bodied Vannaka. Her curse runes easily bested Noelle and caused her to lose her Valkyrie form, and I wouldn't be surprised if Megicula could body Devil Union Asta in a 1 vs 1, but we probably will not see that because he can't use it right now. Just bear in mind, guys, that I am going off of just pure evidence of what we have now, not what is likely going to happen later. Emotionally rather than logically, partially manifested Megicula is probably the strongest character right now in the entire series, but just based off feats, she just isn't there yet, but I'm sure that this list will change. Number 2 is Fusion Lilith. I know that people are going to be pissed that Fusion Lilith is above Megicula, but just remember that Lilith is 2 Cliff-Off Devils fused together, and Megicula is a Cliff-Off Devil that is not at her full power. We know that Megicula is unquantifiably far stronger than the 100% Triad, but we do know that Fusion Lilith is well over 2 times stronger than the 100% Triad, which gives us a hard number, and thus that means we have to put Megicula below Fusion Lilith just for now. This is because Noct said that Fusion was greater than the sum of their power, and so Fusion Lilith is able to fight well against the strongest character in the series, and they would have access to both Fire and Ice, Devil Fire and Devil Ice, which is why I put Fusion Lilith at number 2. At number 1 is Petroff, the legendary Stage 0 Spirit Guardian that is elite in its own right. Nah, I think it's pretty obvious. Devil Union Asta is the peak of the series right now, easily besting an Ancient Demon, easily defeating Nama while fighting 2 Supreme Devils at once, and then fighting Fusion Lilith, overpowering her spell, and bodying her so bad that she had to try and fly away to stall for his fusion to run out. Now people say that Lilith is faster than Devil Union Asta because she was running away and Asta didn't catch her, but she did have a huge head start, and it does look like that Asta may have gained some ground after, but of course, Asta has the muscle and the hacks, but I don't think he will be the strongest for long. When Megicula shows more feats, or Lucifero is fully revealed, or other Cliff-Off Devils are fully revealed, and Megicula is fully manifested, when she maybe has more of her experiments, but I'm not gonna be surprised when his number lowers and begins to drop. But that being said, guys, this is my top 15 Black Clover characters ranked. At number 15, it's Gaja. 14 is Briar Queen Charlotte. 13 is Devilola Pechka. 12 is Yami. 11 is Yuno, 10 is Jack the Ripper, 9 is Vanica, 8 is Zenon, 7 is Dante, 6 is Noct, 5 is Nama, 4 is Noel, 3 is Megicula, 2 is Fusion Lilith, and 1 is Devil Union Asta. Let me know your thoughts down below. I might do a stream in the next few days going over the list, and you guys can comment on the stream and tell me what you guys think, and we can kind of have a discussion about it, because I know that probably there's not going to be a single person that completely agrees with the list. There's probably going to be a lot of you that agree pretty well, and there's going to be a decent amount of you that are going to be pissed that Julius is not in the top 15, that like Lumiere and Zagreta are not in the top 15, but I think that it's pretty well supported. If you just go by the power progression of the series, that you went from Stage 1 being able to fight devils, now Stage 0 is fodder. But with that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Plus...